The season is already next week, Ricardo. And to everybody that's listening at home, I am more than excited to start talking about the remaining divisions that we have up. Right now, we've had so many technical difficulties, Ricardo, and to everybody at home, that it has been absolutely unbelievable. But, oh my God, and frustrating beyond belief. But now, we're back, and we're going to start recapping pretty much the episodes that we missed. So we haven't been uploading anything lately because of that exact reason. The app that we were using at the time is just complete crap. All right.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working out for us at all. And we just want to continue showing our faces. We can't go back to just talking, right? We don't want to just talk. We want to show our faces. We want to express ourselves with everybody. So this is pretty much what we're doing. Right now, we're going to give a quick recap of the divisions that we've already talked about, and we're going to start moving into the divisions that we haven't talked about just yet. So that way, we're all caught up to speed going into this next week. Because, yes, the football season is already starting, and I am so excited, Ricardo. So without further ado, I'm Jose.
And I'm Ricardo.
Welcome back to RJ Talks, everyone. So now let's get straight into it. Ricardo, take it away.
Yeah,
what do we got?
Absolutely. So once again, like Jose said, apologies, guys. It's been a hectic way. I hate not uploading episodes. It makes me furious because we have some great conversations. But we're going to have to do a quick recap of these last two episodes. So we did the AFC East and the NFC North. So pretty much the way it works from fourth to first, the way it went with the AFC East, our picks went as follows. The Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Bills. And I'll do a quick summary. Quick summary from my end.
It hurts me. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as
it hurts me to see the Patriots in third place, it's pretty much deserved there. I mean, there's just a ton going on. But anyway, let's go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much the way we had it work out, for me at least, I don't think Miami's going to have enough consistency at the quarterback position to be able to move forward the way they did. I think they're going to become quite predictable, and they'll have trouble adjusting. And then the Patriots, we talked about it all offseason, Jose. No speed, no weapons, great defense, good defense, but without any offense, you can't really do much, especially in this division. And then the added to New York. They're going to be a fantastic story, but a story. I don't think they're going to go as far into the postseason as New York think they are. I give them in the postseason, maybe winning a playoff game, but I'd be surprised if they made the AFC Championship. I just think there's levels to this. And then that's why I give the respect to the Buffalo Bills, the team with the most continuity and the most eager to prove in this division as the champions. Go ahead, Jose.
But what is very important right now is that to remember about the Buffalo Bills is that they have Josh Allen at the quarterback position. He's been a consistent threat ever since he started in this league, Ricardo. Whether or not we saw it is completely out of the picture now. Josh Allen is a formidable quarterback. The Buffalo Bills have the weapons around them. They just have to stop relying on Josh Allen so much as a team. And Josh Allen needs to stop becoming this guy, like, assuming this position as the hero. He needs to stop being that, right? So now that the Buffalo Bills are aware of this, right, or at least we hope that they're aware of it, they need to be in a position to where, hey, Josh Allen is a great addition, but so is everybody else. They need to continue to play with that same consistency. They need to continue to be a team, all in all, through and through.
Yeah, absolutely, Jose. Couldn't have said it any better myself. So let's go ahead and move on to the NFC North. So pretty much the way we had it worked out for this way from start to finish, from fourth to first, is that we have the Chicago Bears at fourth place. I mean, we went through their schedule pretty much, guys. Like, we're excited for Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and all those guys. But there's a lot of big holes to fill with this team. So they have to do a lot in order to get better. But we see them getting better, making that push to move up, that Bears fans. Not everyone can be the Jets and have a complete turnaround and looking like a playoff contender. So be patient. Your team will get there. Vikings are a disaster. They're just complete offense. Justin Jefferson is the only exciting thing about that. Maybe TJ Hawkinson as well. I do like him. But you got Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and you got a defense that can't tackle. That's pretty much the segment, like how we had it, how I had finished the segment on there. Green Bay, Jose, is going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I think Jordan Love is going to be a lot better than what people expect him to be. So look out, guys. It's going to be Jordan Love And the ground and pound that the Packers have consistently been doing with a top 15 defense, they'll win some games. And then the team that you and I both love, without being we're most sorry about, is the Detroit Lions. I think this is the year they have an exciting season than they've had in the past 15 years, I think. 10, 15 years.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And Ricardo, I agree 100% that the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers are really going to be the most turbulent teams this year. We can, or at least in this division, we can't really predict right now what they're going to look like because we've seen Justin Fields play, we've seen Jordan Love play also, but we don't know how they're going to continue to be going into this next year. Now, as far as the moves that have made the most positive impact on both of these teams, it seems like Chicago is really the ones that are trying to set their team up to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's really because Green Bay just lost their biggest piece of the puzzle, which is Aaron Rodgers.
Uh-huh.
As much of a diva as Aaron Rodgers has been in the past, as much as you could say about him for this, for that, he's a phenomenal quarterback. We can't deny that, right? We can't deny the fact that he has made a stamp and said, hey, I am one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best, with the retirement of Tom Brady. So now that that's set in stone, Green Bay has a lot to fix. However, so does Chicago.
Yep.
And Chicago and Green Bay's first game is against each other. So that's going to be a season opener for both of them to prove that, hey, I'm the one that's going to be here. I'm the one that's going to dominate this division. I'm not even the one to dominate the division, but the one to dominate over the other.
And the two potential rival quarterbacks of the division for the next 10 years to come, potentially.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, because like you said, Ricardo, there's no Kirk Cousins. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, really? Yeah. Complete joke. Also, Jared Goff, right? Jared Goff had his best season last year, but he's getting up there in age, right?
Yeah.
And he can only play for so much longer. The Detroit Lions are a force to be reckoned with, and I am so very excited to see what they do going into this next season. Now, with all of that recap, let's move into the next few divisions that we need to talk about. Ricardo, take it away. Who is your first pick here?
Absolutely. So the first division we're going to talk about is a division with arguably the two bigger contenders in the NFC East. So, pretty much the way I'm looking at the NFC East, Jose, as far as how it comes to like from worst to first, if I'm going to work my way backwards, I have to start off with the Washington Commanders. Just because
no doubt.
the talent disparity, Jose, you can't deny it. I mean, I told you that I thought Sam Howell looked good on that preseason game when he was playing against the Baltimore Ravens. Sam Howell's looking okay. He's looking good. But until Washington proves otherwise, Jose, I have to see it to believe it. I'm not going to pick them to go above proved head coaches in the rest of the division and teams that have all made the postseason last year. So until Washington proves me different, I love their excitement with the new ownership and everything. They're going to be at the bottom of the division. However, I don't think they're going to be as horrible as they were before. If I had to pick a record, Jose, for them, I would say probably 7-10. Probably 7-10, maybe 7-10, 6-11. That's how I see it. It's as far as them, I don't see them being awful, but I don't see them being above 500 either.
Ricardo, that's a great prediction because for all intents and purposes, I'm actually right there with you.
Yeah,
I would have said they would win in around 6 games too. Of course, we're not going to go through their whole schedule simply because the season's this next week, so we don't really have the time to go through all that. But if I were to give a record, I'd say they'd win 6 games. The new ownership is great, and if I remember correctly, Ricardo, didn't they get a new head coach as well within the past 2 years?
3 years,
or
but
has he been around?
He's been around. It's Ron Rivera. He was the head coach for the Panthers the year they went to the Super Bowl. Like, he's a proven head coach. Right. It's just a matter of the culture and the talent meshing together. It's going to take a couple of years to fix that.
For sure. And what's important for Washington is that they gave up a piece of the puzzle that just wasn't doing any good for them, and that was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was not going to do anything for that team. Carson Wentz was not going to do anything for Indy. Was not going to do anything for Philly. So it's the position that he has put himself in now is he is not a good quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. Philly was highly disappointed when he was playing a great game, but then all of a sudden he's just gone. And he should be, right?
Yeah.
And he should be. So now Washington is in a position to where they're rebuilding. Now they are going to be awful, but they're certainly not going to be good either, right? It seems as though they're in a similar position than what the Chicago Bears are in, right? Where they're doing a lot of things better, but they're not. But it's not going to happen right away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why we put Washington at the very bottom of this division. Now, for the next pick, and I think you'll agree with me, Ricardo, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be number 3 in this division.
I got the Giants.
You got the Giants.
I got the
You
Giants.
got the Giants. Okay. Your piece of this. So why do you think the Giants?
The reason I think the Giants is that I think it's going to come down to a prove-it season for Daniel Jones. And as great as I think Brian Daboll is as a head coach, and this is not going to be anything against him, I just don't think Daniel Jones has it. I really don't. I really don't. And Saquon Barkley is in the middle of a prove-it season, so you know he's going to be eager to run the football. But what have we talked about, Jose? The NFL teams, they've been prepping all season and focusing on what New York Giants do well. And if you were an average person who looked at the Giants, what do they do well? Run the football. What are you going to try to do? Stop them from running the football. So you're going to see Saquon Barkley with a lot of 8-man boxes. They have a great defense in New York, but I can see them getting in some close games, and I can see Daniel Jones not winning them for them because they're going to force them to throw the football. They're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat them. So that's how I see the Giants. And as far as for their season, I think it's going to be 9-8. 9-8 and missing the postseason.
In third place. Wow. 9-8 in third place. That's not bad. So, okay. So here's the reason why I put the Dallas Cowboys in third place, Ricardo. Reason being is that organizationally they're a mess. Right.
Yeah,
the head coach is not good. Mike McCarthy's not good. And this is the three-headed snake that you've always talked about, Ricardo. The ownership, the owner, the head coach, and the quarterback. These three need to be completely in place in order for a team to work all together, right? These three are completely in flux, especially since now the team lost Zeke. Right? Now that Dak Prescott is, number one, coaching a new quarterback in Trey Lance now that he's been traded over to Dallas, right? He's pretty much going to play mentor to him, right? However good of a mentor he might be, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the guy in the backfield that he's probably going to be missing, even though the team might not be missing him. And since that structure is so in flux, I think it's really going to start rearing its ugly head, and they're going to be less lucky going into this next season. That's my argument. Now, you can't deny the fact that they have a solid defense. Their defense is really starting to show themselves up, and that offensive line is pretty good too. They're going to continue being that Dallas offensive line. But because of this situation that is at its foundation completely cracked and not solid, right? I think it's really going to start collapsing this next season, right? And that's just me. That's just what I think, right? However, yeah, I could be proven wrong, and I will be very happy to say next season, if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. Last season, I was wrong about Denver. We'll say that 100%, and I will say that time and time again. I was wrong about Denver. But this is my initial prediction of Dallas right now. And if I were to give them a record, I'd say 9-8.
Gotcha.
I'd say 9-8. They will win more games simply because of that offensive line and that defense. We can't deny how good they are.
I'm really torn here, Jose, and here's why I'm really torn. You and I both know the history of Super Bowl losers throughout NFL history. It's just, it's a curse. It's a curse. You can't escape it, and you can't ignore it. And for that reason, and that reason only, Don't mock me here, because you gave some good points, and I'm gonna explain it here. I got Philly in second place, making the postseason,
Okay.
but in second place. This is a big 180. I haven't told Jose about any of this. I just thought about this on the fly. And here's why I have Philly in second place. They lost some key players in their secondary, which every Super Bowl team does do. They lost both of their coordinators, Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen. They both became head coaches. It's going to be a whole new system for both sides. Maybe not completely different. Maybe they still have the same philosophy. But with that change and the Super Bowl hangover that's bound to come, Jose, I can't ignore it. I cannot ignore it. And I see them making the postseason, but they're not as nearly dominant as they were the year before. I say, Jose, they would probably be. I don't see them win 10-7. 10-7 making the postseason.
That's a good record.
Yeah.
That's a good record. Okay.
And I think Jalen Hurts is going to be carrying this team to try to keep them afloat throughout the troubles that they may have, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year. That's how I see them in second place. Playoffs 10-7.
And Ricardo, I agree with you 100%. I agree. Well, not 100%. I'd say 90, simply because the point stands that yes, Super Bowl hangovers are real, especially with runner-ups, right? With Super Bowl runner-ups, it just hits them hard, right? As far as the team structure goes, yes, they lost some key players in their secondary, but they haven't lost the thing that really put them in a good position last year, and that is that offense. Yeah, and that's that offense, right? They haven't lost a whole lot of key players from there. Now, Ricardo, I would probably agree with you more if they just completely wiped the team clean, right, of key players. But they only lost those key players in the secondary, right? But even then, they're still putting pieces together to help them improve.
Yeah. As
far as the forces that are beyond us that have to do with the Super Bowl hangover, I'm not even going to try and predict that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try and put my finger on it and say, hey, you know what? That's not going to happen wholeheartedly. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's unrealistic. But I also just don't see the Giants being better than Philly, record-wise.
That's fair.
Right?
I
don't see the Giants being better than Philly, and I don't see the Cowboys being better than Philly. Even if Philly is suffering from a Super Bowl hangover, because those two teams, as we know, Ricardo, the Dallas Cowboys especially, are just all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? Dallas Cowboys have been all over the place for the longest time. And Ricardo, I like how you brought up the point that they lost their coordinators. The Philadelphia, they lost their coordinators, right? And they're replacing them with new people, okay? But they haven't lost their head coach, right? And they haven't lost their head coach, and they haven't changed ownership, right? So that seems to be, and they haven't lost their starting quarterback. So those pieces are still at play.
Yeah.
Right? Dallas, on the other hand, those pieces are still at play, but they're not doing any good for them. But they aren't doing any good for them. So that is the reason why I'm putting Dallas where they are, I'm putting New York where they are, and I'm putting Philly where they are. Ricardo, I don't think Philly's going to go all the way.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be conference champions. I think they'll be divisional champions, but by a hair.
Yeah.
By a hair. But as soon as they get to the conference championship, they have so much competition around them that it's just getting so much better. Like San Fran, for example, like the Niners, for example, like I forget some other teams that are going to be going up against them. But you see my point here, Ricardo, is that I don't think they're going to win the conference championship. They might sliver in, but that's it.
Yeah.
They might find their way in, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence.
And there's always that surprise team in the year, Jose, that comes out of nowhere and starts going on a dominant role, whether it's in the AFC or the NFC. So we might find a team that we didn't think that to start off the season we're going to do anything. Now, my argument as to why I have the Cowboys in first, Jose, they cannot mess this up. They have a very simple formula to help out Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott got 17 interceptions in just 12 games last year. 17.
Yep.
So the new offensive coordinator, what their strategy has to be, run the damn rock. Run it down teams' throats. They're going to play old school football, early 2000s, rely on their defense to be dominant, and then have them run the clock so that their defense is rested and can continue to dominate on teams. However, It is still Dallas. So am I predicting they're going to be the number 1 seed? Absolutely not. So what I'm gonna, how I see them going, I see them, this is how close it is to say, and this is how much faith I have in Philly. I see them having 1 game better record than Philly. Just because Philly's going to have some bad luck, I see them being 11-6. And I see them being the division winners, but I do not see them being a top seed, and I do not see them having success in the postseason. But that's how I see the NFC East.
Well, Ricardo, I think it's fair that we agree to disagree, and this is pretty much where we stand. However, I hope to everybody that's watching at home, we brought up some good points, right?
Yeah.
Because it seems as though Ricardo and I can both see each other's point of view, but it's just a little different, all right? Once again, do I think Philly's going to go on and win the conference championship? Probably not, all right? I don't think that. But I think by a hair, they're going to win the division. That's all.
Yeah.
Now, what's the next division that you got for us, Ricardo?
The next division I got is not that exciting of a division, but it's got some potential young prospects as far as how it's looking. We got the AFC South Division, Jose. And we got, not that exciting competition-wise, but some exciting players to look for that came out from this year's draft. All right, let's just get it over with.
Yes.
4th place, Houston. I love CJ Stroud.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows in the pre-draft, I would pick CJ Stroud over anyone. I wish he was with my team right now, but he's not. So, you got Houston that has just a lot of holes to cover up. I love Dameon Pierce, fantastic running back. CJ Stroud's going to look good. They just got too many holes. It's if I have to pick a record for them, I'd say 4-13, maybe 5-12, around that.
Yep.
Not too exciting to see from them. And 3rd place, Jose, might surprise you a little bit, but maybe not. It's those Tennessee Titans, man. They're not gonna do a worth lick over everything. They have DeAndre Hopkins, sure, but they're not gonna use him well. They've never used top receivers that they've signed well. Whether that's Julio Jones, whether that was Andre Johnson, whether that was A.J. Brown that they traded away to Philadelphia. They've never used a top flight receiver perfectly. What makes me think it's going to be different with DeAndre Hopkins? Defense is still mediocre at the moment. Until they prove it better to me, that's fine. And Derrick Henry's back is going to break eventually, carrying that offense, that offensive scheme, okay?
Seriously. Oh, my God.
Like everyone who reads the book about Todd Bunyan, the guy who dug the railroad track and died from exhaustion with his mighty hammer, that's King Henry trying to break through against the machine, and his team's not helping him now.
Seriously. Oh my
not,
goodness, Ricardo. Really quick before you go on, I agree with Houston. I agree with Houston there, and I agree with Tennessee being in 3rd place too. Tennessee, because they just got our kicker. They just got Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Right. They traded for him. Is he going to make a huge difference in Tennessee? He might help him with just scoring. They're going to help him with putting extra points on the board, really, because that's what a kicker's supposed to do. I mean, at the bare bones of it,
some
really.
50-yard field goals.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, but there's not, as far as a kicker's position, Ricardo, and correct me if I'm wrong. It just seems like there's not a whole lot to really mess up there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's not really a whole lot to mess up there. So is Tennessee really going to put them in this position to where he's just going to completely blow the whole thing? I don't think so. So as far as the rest of the team goes, Ricardo, you know how I feel about Ryan Tannehill. It's just, you know how I feel about Ryan Tannehill. You know how we both feel about that offensive scheme, right? The offensive play writing, for Christ's sake. Yeah, just complete mess. And it's not even okay, let me correct myself here. It's not even a complete mess. It's just completely unbearably vanilla. Like, there's nothing to it at all. There's no risk. It's mid, man. It's just mid. That's it.
Absolutely. And as far as their record goes, how I see them doing, Jose, 7-10, 6-11, somewhere around that range.
Ricardo, I'd say 6.
Probably, yeah.
Still winning like 5 games, man. Sheesh. But anyway, yeah. Second place. What do you think?
I think Indianapolis is going to surprise some people, and they're gonna win some games. I don't think they're gonna make the postseason. However, I don't think they're that good enough of a team. However,
Yeah.
them starting Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor backed into a corner having to play for the current team that they are. They're going to play that same style of football, Jose, of running the ball down your throats and doing play action. Now, that's the best friend to a rookie quarterback, as you and I both know this. We don't have that much faith in Anthony Richardson, but if you're going to protect him, might as well do it by running the football and having Quentin Nelson in that offensive line block for you to try to give you some time to make some smarter decisions. But that defense leaves a lot to be desired, specifically when it comes to the passing game control. Like Jose, last year Indianapolis was so inconsistent. Like they would have some games where they look great, and they would have other games where they get they would get the doors blown open from them. And you know what I'm talking about, like specifically on there. And it's just Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's like, especially with rookie quarterbacks, Jose. Unless you're one of the better ones in history to do it, then you can absolutely just play it safe, do the smart thing, continue to develop. As far as their record goes, optimistic, probably 9-8, but I see them going 8-9.
Yeah, that's really where I put them too. Is just kind of, I mean, I agree with the records.
Yeah,
I really do. As far as Indianapolis, they just have so much. They have so much turbulence going on around them. They've been making the headlines quite a bit lately, especially with the comments of Anthony Richardson saying, "Oh, they want me to win a Super Bowl for them their first year." My first year. I go, okay. First of all, what team doesn't want that? First of all, yeah. I mean, let's be real for a second, Ricardo. It's like, what team doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Want to go to the Super Bowl and make it with a rookie quarterback? Like, who doesn't want that? But is it going to be Anthony Richardson out of that entire draft class? No. Please, Ricardo. It's not going to be him.
And you know who he reminds me of? But no, I don't. I think the player I'm going to compare him to was much better going into the league as a passer. Is a little faster Cam Newton style quarterback. That's who he reminds me of. And Cam Newton was great his rookie year. Look up the stats, guys. Like he was great as a passer. Yeah, no, I think it was either 4,000 yards or just under 4,000 yards passing as a rookie. Like
some crazy numbers.
Crazy numbers with So like, Jose, can you tell me? I mean, Michael Pittman's going to be the number one receiver, who's going to lead him to the promised land. Really, Michael Pittman Jr. So like, I just don't see this team doing much. But it's just. We'll see how they do. And now let's get to the champion of the division and the team that I really think is gonna probably make some noise in the postseason because they're starting to prove like they're might be the team to beat in that division unless Houston or Indianapolis rises up in the next coming years. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is looking fantastic with those weapons around him, and the defense is getting better little by little. And it's just how they surged in the regular season and had a great run in the postseason shows me that division, until further notice, until like it gets proven otherwise, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence's until these other teams are in a position ready to compete. And I think he's only going to get better, specifically in a second year. Like Jose, this was his first year under Doug Peterson's offensive system. I can't imagine this offseason after having that experience and the connection that these guys are going to have. Jose, I'd say they're an argument to be probably a top 3 seed in the NFL just because of how awful that division is and because how good they are. If I had to pick a record, I would say probably this is going to be reaching here, but between 13-4, probably 12 and
what?
Yeah, or 12-5. That's how I see them.
Holy shit!
Have
them winning 13 games? Wow, dude. Wow. I had them at I had them at 10. I had them like 10, 11. I had them right there. Holy shit, man.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll probably have egg in my face, maybe, but that's how I see it right now.
Oh, hey, you know what? I mean, wow, that is a huge number. I didn't expect that number. You were like, oh, I might surprise you, and I go, you rarely surprise me, but yeah, that time you surprised me. Wow. Now, Ricardo, I agree I agree with a lot of what you just said. Right, Trevor Lawrence's division is going to be the AFC South. That is going to be his division for quite some time. Trevor Lawrence has done a phenomenal job. I feel like he's in a similar position than what Jalen Hurts was in last season.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they're building the team around him. They've built a team around him now. Right, so now it's entirely up to Trevor Lawrence. Did he deliver every single game last year? No, he didn't. Right, against the Chargers. Gosh, they were lucky to have won that game. They were very lucky to have won that game. And Trevor Lawrence, quite honestly, if I were, and this is just me, if I were Trevor Lawrence for that game, I wouldn't be cheering because that victory was not mine, right? That was the rest of the team. The rest of the team really put it up for those guys, right? Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove going into this next season, but to put it on a lighter note, I have faith in the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I really do have faith in the guy that he can improve because literally from his first to second year, it was like night and day. He was playing so much better, significantly better. So I have faith in Trevor Lawrence that he is going to continue to perform.
Yeah.
As far as the record goes, like I said, Ricardo, I have him winning like tops 11 games. 11 games. I most definitely think they're going to the postseason. I do. And I think they're going to be, I think personally they'll even win the wild card. They'll win the wild card game.
Yeah.
I really do think that. As far as them going any further, no, because there's just way too much contest in the AFC. Way too much contest in the AFC for them to go any further. But like I said, that Jaguars team, I had them at number 1 from the minute you said AFC South. I had them at number 1.
Yeah. No.
So I think they're going to do very well.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And why don't we take a quick break here, Jose, and we'll go ahead and go into the other divisions coming up. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back, okay?